I am Kesten Rono, and you're here for A Course in Miracles, day 59, continuing our review today and tomorrow. Yesterday we were declaring our holiness, that you are blessed as a son of God, that your holiness envelops everything you see, stretching our minds into a perspective of the Spirit and our identity associated there, and what kind of ecosystem that creates, at least in our imagination. How would these teachings in this book apply to the world that we're experiencing? How can we reconcile some of the ideas? How can we take a first step in practicing them as we share these mantras, these proclamations about ourselves? That you are innately worthy, powerful, abundant, and complete. That you are worthy of truth and abundance and love. And in fact, it is your very nature. That you are full of light. And that this light may be undeniable, unstoppable, allow you to possess an idea of invulnerability. How can that be? And what are our tools for recognizing it? One is to accept that maybe you are made, since you are in God's image, innately holy, divine, and whatever that suggests. That you have the ability yourself to be a creator rather than a victim, to shoulder that responsibility, but to do so with ease, because you may simply notice that as you align yourself with a truth which you have not been seeing, lest you would see meaning and purpose in everything that you're doing that does not lead you towards attack thoughts, that when you can see truth, true meaning, and true purpose in everything around you, then you are one step closer to seeing life in the physical here from your spiritually minded perspective. The one that suggests that you are perfect, created in the image of God, that you are a creator, that you are divined with light, and that everything that you are creating is imbued with this light, that it is of what you are. And somehow your mind, whatever that is, wherever that is the true cause of everything that you are experiencing. And what we are experiencing is not meant to be solved by playing with these effects. It's meant to be a reflection of our internal state, that our state of being is a reflection of our state of mind, which is why we celebrate our holiness, so that if we have this idea as part of us, we may attempt to notice it in everything around us, in everyone and in every situation, and we can bring the idea of the quiet with us to offer peace and understanding, patience, into environments where it would be our tendency, and therefore we have forgiveness for other people. It would have been our tendency to feel tight or needing to defend ourselves, as if there was anything to defend ourselves from in the first place. And how do we reconcile that with what we are seeing in the world? One step at a time. The first being with ourselves, if we may, such that everywhere we go, around in the neighborhood or whatever it is that you're doing, maybe you can find subtle pieces of peace there that you didn't notice before. Eye contact with somebody and a smile and a genuine connection, however brief, where before you were not inviting yourself to see it that way. One step at a time, through our discomforts, recognizing that everything may be happening for us, not to us, so that we may wake up to a different way of viewing the world. Is there a way of seeing peace and safety, freedom from worry? If we are not feeling it now, what would the conditions be to require that? And this is a universal principle. So our answer is not allowed to be one that actively takes from somebody else and creates an idea of lack. It is one that infinitely blesses. What would be required for that to be true? Maybe you think it can't be true, but would you dare dream about it? What would be the circumstances that would be necessary? I believe that's what we are discovering here as we share these ideas. So today, lesson 59, the following ideas are for review today. 41, God goes with me wherever I go. Please repeat this. God goes with me wherever I go. How can I be alone when God always goes with me? The idea that your thoughts are God's thoughts and God's thoughts are your thoughts, that He is the mind of all things beyond time in the eternal realm of knowledge. You are created from this idea, therefore, you could be organized perfectly as He would know all things, and He sees outside of time, and therefore we cast ourselves into time and space so that we can have an experience with some kind of frictions and energy requirements. And through this experience, we can reawaken back to what we are, something beautiful, and share this experience back through our chain of connection with God, that we are always innately connected. This is how you can never be separate from God once you see it. How can I be doubtful and unsure of myself when perfect certainty abides in Him? Would He set you up for failure? Or would all roads, no matter how dark you imagine they are, still lead you back to your own light? Would this not be a better ending and story and understanding and learning? And from this lens, every time that we give into a situation where our feelings feel stretched, we have another opportunity to notice that we may want to feel another way, that there is another way of looking at this. And when we head in that direction, it feels as though we are experiencing more peace and levity. Perfect certainty. What could God not accomplish with the perspective above all things? True understanding, innate understanding of the architecture, the engineering of this ecosystem. What trick could you pull on Him? And if you are connected to Him and your thoughts are His thoughts, would you not have a direct line of communication to help you navigate your way through? And would you trust? Therefore, would you have faith that the intuition that you are receiving has meaning and that it works out, and that by fundamental design of you being here, you are cut off from knowing what He would know, and therefore you give it up to the unknown. And in doing so, you set aside the fears associated with the ego. Now you are moving forward in trust and faith because you are curious about a deeper meaning of truth. I believe this is how we receive or notice that everything we want is already ours. And if you think you want something that's material, I believe you're caught in the same game still. That what we want is to know true meaning of everything around us. Total knowledge. Because in that realm, we would have total control, but the need for none of it. And if we think that we need something specific material in order to find that completeness, we will find ourselves empty yet again. We can never take that with us into the invulnerable realm. With God, we have perfect certainty. We are connected to Him, so we know that we are okay, even if we cannot see exactly how or when it works out. How can I be disturbed by anything when He rests in me in absolute peace? That He is the model of what true peace is. And if we are not experiencing true peace, then perhaps we want to be curious about another way, another system of being, a new state of mind that might create such an idea for ourselves. How can I suffer when love and joy surround me through Him? If you were enveloped in His holiness, that is the key to why everything is enveloped in your holiness. If you were enveloped in His holiness, constantly connected to Him, if you could see beyond just a body identification to accept how this could be possible, how could you suffer? What would suffering even be but to deny the idea that you are surrounded by love? Let me not cherish illusions about myself. May we set down our swords in our fight to demand that we must continue image making in a way that helps us feel less than complete, that we are creating this idea for ourselves. Look at me, see my perfection, see my mess. See how perfect it is to feel our way through these things. that we are waking up to something that is on the other side of this mess, this darkness, which we believe is all there is. But if we believe on the other side of this is that door, that we may simply open and witness all the light that we have shut out from ourselves, then start declaring your perfection. And you can start with, if that word is scary, that you are worthy of this love and peace, that you are powerful enough to see through what haunts you, that you are abundant, that you are never going to run out of energy. Picture how that could be, that you are in supreme health then, and that you are complete. You are never alone. You are connected to all there is, and you are one of the many of all there is. That from this lens, you seeing this for yourself without arrogance, with humility and patience, with forgiveness, is the key to everybody seeing life differently. If there is any kind of injustice, remember that justice, this term, is creating an ecosystem where we have to believe that people are victims and attackers rather than seeing everyone as people with the same ability to see life differently. And starting with us, we can get rid of this idea of victimhood. Not that things haven't been done unto us, but those things are the past. They are water under the bridge. And as I've been trying to say, what is water under a bridge? It's tranquility. To listen to that flow of what was, go away into, I don't know, what is. That you are right here in the present, and it's a great metaphor for you to find some peace. And in fact, I'm sure if you are in nature listening to that trickling sound, it is peaceful. It is the reflection of your environment showing you that there is another way of feeling, and that you may borrow this feeling as you move forward out in the world, rather than believe you have to continue to borrow the one from some conflict with a friend or a job, the traffic, the news, or something horrible that you believe you have experienced. It's okay. But let's not cherish illusions about ourselves any longer. Let's realize that if we can see ourselves as creators, at least of the charges of our own thoughts, then automatically we have the opportunity and responsibility to remove words like victim and the need of attack thoughts of justice under all circumstances. And if you can see some injustice out in the world, now relatively speaking, maybe you can let it go. Maybe you can recognize how it's poisoning you too. That it's telling you a story that you want to adopt, that you feel you need to adopt, or you will be destroyed. That you're willing to die for this thing. What are you willing to live for? What if you promoted an idea of living fully and truly? Maybe you would wake up to some of these ideas given long enough. And if you believe you must die for life to happen, can you feel the irony in that statement? That you must die or kill in order for life to be. Perhaps there are scenarios when we have debates where we could be placed in these kind of parameters. But what if we took that lid off for ourselves when we're allowed to think for ourselves? And what if instead the parameters were suggesting that to know life meant life, and to know death meant death, and we could just stop tricking ourselves into these attack cycles? I am perfect. That's funny to read now. I am perfect because God goes with me wherever I go. See this perfection. Try it on. Perhaps it is challenging to say. It's not because you've done everything right. And what is right, I'm not justifying hurting people by any means, but when you were 10, what were you doing? Not this. That your perspective is changing over time, and that's okay. But how you were seeing the world was different than how you're seeing it now. And presumably, if you have another 10, 20, 30, or more years of your life, you'll see life differently again. but you'll still be in the present, seeing it from there. And each of these perspectives offers you the opportunity to notice your perfection, that it's not exclusive to something that you learn later or something that you didn't know earlier. That just by design, if you will accept that some part of you is created in the image of God, that you are connected to God. I am perfect because God goes with me wherever I go. Please repeat this idea one more time. God goes with me wherever I go. 42. God is my strength. Vision is his gift. I remember this series of lessons. I like this series of lessons, these declarations. Say it, please. God is my strength. Vision is his gift. Let me not look to my own eyes to see today. Let's declare that there is something else about us outside of our body identification. That does not use eyes in the physical sense to see, that there is another kind of vision. Let me be willing to exchange my pitiful illusion of seeing for the vision that is given by God. That there must be some other way of seeing, that we are confusing this word. Sometimes words mean multiple things. So let's just flex this idea. Yes, seeing and vision is associated with your eyeballs and your understanding of the light that's being cast inside of them. That's how you're seeing me now. But there's something else about seeing light that is fundamentally a tool for separating illusion from truth. That is different than how we are seeing now. We would say that is that color, that looks like a steep hill, that looks like it will be hard, not soft, whatever. This guy needs to shave. But true vision is something else. Maybe the last statement is true. Maybe all of those statements are true, but they're true from this physical body identification lens. Let us allow ourselves to imagine that true vision is some utility for automatically knowing that we are aligned with God. Christ's vision is his gift, and he has given it to me. You are a son of God, if you want to buy any of the ideas in here. If not, thank you for still listening. Perhaps you noticed that you are curious about what it would be like to be a son of God. Perhaps you see no threat here. Perhaps you end up trying some of these ideas on even a little bit. But if you are made in the image of God, would he want his son to have anything less than what he has? What loving father would dare dream for their child to have less than they have? We might think of more as in more material or more money, but perhaps we really mean more opportunity, more health, more freedom, more room for creativity, the ability to notice something possibly sooner that is so impactful that our child is overtaken with passion, that this is some idea of purpose. So, would your loving Father, from the perspective of you being a son of God, grant you anything other than the wildest opportunity for you to be as full as you ever could, and that fullness would be greater on a spiritual level than something that we are experiencing on a physical level? Thank goodness we are tied to them. And thank goodness someone is designing this, because we are still constantly in the discovery phase of what is even happening inside of a body. We have a lot of things mapped out, sure, but that is just with the current set of tools that we have. But it probably gets infinitely more complex the more that we look, unless science has said it's settled, in which case I don't think that is the fundamental nature of science, that we are here to ask questions which give results, which allow us to ask more questions, that it is an exponential idea unfolding the more that we look, until we look as far as our tools allow us and we say, I don't know what's next. And suddenly we're faced with an idea of our lack of knowledge. And perhaps then we turn things over to God, Let me call upon this gift today so that this day may help me to understand eternity. So fundamentally here, with the strength of God, with the gift of vision, we are asking ourselves, what would the laws of eternity be? We have to think about what are the laws of time, or perhaps that is our frame of reference. But that is what is happening right here. This video is X minutes long. Then after that, I need to be somewhere else. Should I plan my way into hurry? Or should I accept whatever timing is, relax these ideas? What would eternity be like then? Let me call upon this gift today, which is Christ's vision that he has given to you, so that this day may help me to understand eternity, that our confusion and discomfort evaporates, simply dissolves when we know the truth about a bigger idea. We are not scared of the same things that we were scared of when we were kids, because we learned some other truth, at least in time and space, about that experience. We can do the same thing with traumas that we've experienced in the past and release ourselves from those. And if we can do that from the past to here, well, then perhaps we are noticing that we are setting up the opportunity for some kind of spectrum, that we can extend ourselves now, having used the invisible to inform ourselves here, but that we've done that with our minds, that perhaps there's another step to cast ourselves further beyond our current laws, and we can see a spectrum, an array of opportunities of how to feel or associate ourselves, that we can choose to live in the past with those haunting ideas because they are illusions, they are not here, or we can try to even move beyond ourself, using our mind, the same tool we are using to release the idea of the past, and say, how is it that I have access to this? And what does it have access to? Please repeat after me. God is my strength. Vision is his gift. "43. God is my source. Capital S, source. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. See here, again, alluding to something that is not vision with our eyes in a physical sense. Please repeat after me. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. I can see what God wants me to see. Remember, he has a will. He wants you to notice unconditional love and truth. This is where perfect peace and safety resides. Who would not want that in a loving sense for their son? But you can do what you want. You can be a rebel and learn things your own way if you'd like. But you can see what God wants you to see. I cannot see anything else. A declaration that we only see what God wants us to see. That we have the opportunity to image make, but if we want to see, we can only see the universal truth. Beyond his will lie only illusions. That is where we are playing when we think we are seeing. That we think we are thinking is the clue. It is these I choose when I think I can see apart from him. That if you choose to be separate from God and not try on these ideas, then by design, you are playing God. And to play God will require you to centralize power, which is the opposite of what God does. He has decentralized power through a decentralized network. That's nature. It's you. And if you think that you will be destroyed, then you need to spend your life trying to maintain it above all else. And you will do that to no end if you keep going. Everyone else be damned. That you believe you can bless yourself and that you are worthy of everything. The irony couldn't be more palpable. You absolutely are worthy, but you're worthy of love and acceptance and sharing these laws with yourself and everyone else, that everyone else is raised up through this miracle process. If you choose to, you can play with illusions, and you will constantly have something that you hope is never happening, because you will not know peace. It is these I choose when I try to see through the body's eyes, that we are denying our body identification if we want to see from the sense of true vision rather than seeing material items, therefore being advertised only material items. It's no surprise that through a propaganda lens, we're having a repetition of only the physical, therefore we can only chase the physical. Therefore we live in this world of illusions, therefore we feel we are vulnerable, therefore we must defend something, therefore we create attack thoughts, therefore we harbor attack and its associations within our body. We have shame and regret and depression and anger and rage. And you see this cycle when you can only see through your body lens. Yet the vision of Christ has been given to me to replace them, that you can affirm your spirit identification and see here too. That's what we are trying to discover. It is through this vision that I choose to see. It is through this vision that I choose to see. Allow yourself to think it or say it. Please repeat after me. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. You are a miracle, and the source of miracles is what matters, not the spectacle. The source of miracles is love. God is your source. Your source, what you fundamentally are, is love. And your expressions, in truth, are maximal expressions of love. That you needn't worry or be in fear about what will happen next. That you simply try. And everything that you do to the best of your ability, despite any confusion you have, in the name of truth, moving in that direction, is a maximal expression of love. You cannot mess it up. And the more that we notice it, the more we are full. And we can give what we have. To sell something that we do not own is a lie. We can step away from that practice and just allow ourselves to give as best as we have noticed thus far and see what happens. 44. God is the light in which I see. Please say this. God is the light in which I see. I cannot see in darkness. Duh. Unless you're a cat or you've got a full moon and you haven't been looking at a fire. But even then, of course, we're not talking about physical sight. We're talking about spiritual sight. And you cannot see in darkness if it's what you choose to build with. If you're separate from God, you are attempting to play God. You will be building in darkness, not with light. And you will be calling it light and telling everyone how holy you are. And anyone who can feel will eventually notice that this isn't quite right. Because fundamentally we are on a path for meaning. It is what every human is interested in ultimately, because it offers us peace. If we knew everything, we could not be surprised or hurt by anything. You cannot see in darkness. You cannot build in darkness. It is all an illusion. God is the only light, limitless, formless, the ability to comfortably store every thought, to always accept whatever has been because it just simply is. This is what truth and the unconditional idea of love is. God is the only light. Therefore, if I am to see, it must be through him. Okay, we're going to put on God's goggles. What are they? They're made out of holiness. And if you put them on, you will literally be seeing everything through God's holiness. This is the idea. I have tried to define what seeing is, and I have been wrong. If you are seeing sight just because what your sight is and what we call it is returning the physical to you, then you are missing out on an experience of seeing the mystical. It's okay to be wrong. You're not wrong to have an experience that you're having, but you are wrong from the lens of truth. Now it is given me to understand that God is the light in which I see. Literally, in which you are in God's light. You are of the limitless and formless. This is why your light can do anything. This is why you are invulnerable. It is all about the perspective. Years ago, I think I wrote on my whiteboard a curiosity that was something else. And I wrote time, space, and perspective. I had no idea what it meant. It's funny to see it now. That when we lend our observation to things, that they snap into some reality. So what if fundamentally we saw reality fundamentally differently? Like different cultures with different languages, and therefore having different words to describe the same scenarios, some without the words that we would use that just do not even present the opportunity to express it that way. And if it could never be expressed that way, does it really exist and feel that way? I'm not sure. Just an idea. But perhaps there is time, space, and perspective. The perspective from which you are perceiving. And that is changing everything about how you feel about the environment. Because you just simply see it differently than someone else. Or see it differently from your spiritual lens through God's light. It is given me the idea that you have been seeing incorrectly. It is given you. True vision is given you an idea to understand that God is the light in which I see. It is okay to have been wrong. You are of the limitless, formless hard drive, the machine, if you need to see it that way. You can go anywhere and do anything here. You can create infinitely. There's no risk. You're not going to burn it down or break it. It just simply is. It's fully functioning for you to run any program that you want. And if you choose disease and destruction and death, you'll see it. But this is given you, as in this is happening for you, so you can notice as you begin to feel that this isn't what you want. Of course, it's not what you want. It's not what God wants for you, and you are of Him. God is a light in which you see. Let me welcome vision. That's true vision. And the happy world it will show me. That when you can see the truth, everything else is a joke. And not in a way that you're angry, in a way that you can't help but laugh. I'm not sure I'm seeing it, but I have conversations with friends, and they tell me something, and I end up laughing. And they say, "Why are you laughing?" And I said, "Because it's the only way that I can see it. That there's some process being revealed here." You can kind of feel the stories that we're telling ourselves and the way that they unfold. And it's hilarious. It's truly peace-inducing. It's genuinely happy. I didn't even know really how to make sense of the term to be happy. Maybe to feel bliss or joy, but just to be happy? I'm not even sure what that's ever been until now. Does anyone else see what's going on here? I'm not sure that I see it in that I see light in every object, but I cannot unsee that there is something else going on here. Where are all these gifts of love that I'm finding in my life and opportunities coming from when I see myself differently? I didn't see them before. I thought I was unworthy, not powerful, absolutely in lack, not abundant, and completely incomplete. That would have been my fundamental theory of myself for a long time. Therefore, what would I be deserving of except more pain, more lessons, more chances, thank you, to wake up, to say, this isn't working, not in a way that is providing me more meaning and resilience and health and happiness. Happiness. What is happiness? It's not just someone telling me a joke. And as I've said in some of the previous lessons, that once I tried meditation on, and I'm not saying I meditate all the time by any means, but when I tried it on, dang it, I had to admit to myself that I felt something akin to what I thought happiness was. It was more of a blissful timelessness. How did I get this spell cast on me if no one told me a funny joke and pulled me out of my despair? So what is happiness? It's seeing everything for what it is. It's all okay. These are all ideas. It's all okay. Please just notice. It's all okay. Let me welcome vision and the happy world it will show me. Please repeat after me. God is the light in which I see. 45. God is the mind, capital M. God is the mind with which I think. Please say this. God is the mind with which I think. I have no thoughts I do not share with God. You are never separate from God. He's like Santa Claus, colostrum, secreting these magic fluids to your pineal and pituitary, giving you a chance for awakening, to notice him. But he sees all. You're never separate, even if you don't notice all expressions of love. It is okay. We have all had different perspectives. It doesn't mean that love wasn't there the whole time. It just means we were confused, or whoever was delivering it was confused. But it doesn't mean that the big man in the sky can't see you from where he is, even if you can't see him from where you are. Perhaps you are looking with your eyes, requiring that you must see a miracle, the spectacle, to have some kind of belief. But what if you looked inside? You can't use your eyes inside. What would you notice? Perhaps you would also notice peace and timelessness. What is that? Does it feel like darkness? That you have to give yourself over in some way? Give up freedom for some kind of contract of power to hurt others? Or does it feel like a very special place that leaves you feeling fuller than you could have expected? What are all of these teachers across time talking about? What is this mysticism? You have no thoughts that you do not share with God because you are a mind of God. He is a mind. He is the mind with which you think. You are made in his image. You are a mind. And a mind is an invisible idea. It is not a brain. We can use our brains to notice our minds. I have no thoughts apart from him because I have no mind apart from his. You are fundamentally of him, which is why you are holy, which is why everything you are seeing is through your holiness. Once we can choose to see it and be curious, what the heck is that? What is going on here? I'm clearly not just physical. May I give that idea some credence? As part of his mind, my thoughts are his, and his thoughts are mine. That you have some original thoughts with God, if this is to be true, that nothing is not recorded, that everything is available for anyone plugged into this system to notice. That is the decentralized idea of a reproduced ledger, easily audible by anybody, that it simply just reflects the truth of all thoughts, of all transactions. There's no hiding from it. There's no reason to hide. It's just there, keeping record and letting you know that the count is always accurate. Nothing is being created or pulled over your eyes. There is nothing being sold that does not exist. It's impossible to tell a lie relative to this forever ledger in the eternal realm of knowledge. You can only lie to yourself and trick people who are not ready to understand. This is your immorality and the creation of your darkness. This is where you will learn the same lesson as you hurt more, as you hurt others more. It is happening to you, for you, so that you can wake up to a more meaningful way of being, one that is remarkably peaceful, not one that requires something to defend and therefore to attack others. Some are deep, deep, deep in this illusion. But fortunately, you and they and I are never separate from God. That is part of the illusion. Lost in darkness. It's like being lost in the woods. but we're 10 trees away from the clearing for our house. We just think that we're deep in there and our mind takes over and it keeps running. Settle down. It's all okay. Everything that you are experiencing is an idea looking for a host. And the ultimate idea, ever present, always existing, foundational, is the truth with which you have been instilled. It is always kept on record. It is always available to you. And it is proof that you had original thoughts with God. I have no thoughts I do not share with God. I have no thoughts apart from him because I have no mind apart from his. As part of his mind, my thoughts are his and his thoughts are mine. What a thing to celebrate. You are directly connected to God if you choose to see it. That is what we are being offered here. Why throw that away? So you can experience more pain, or so that you can find perfect peace and perfect safety, aligning with an idea that does not want to threaten you, solely wants to raise you up and offer you the opportunity to raise all others up. That who you are and what you do is a blessing, and it is a blessing to give and receive, and true vision will cost you no sacrifice, even if you think you're going to lose this to gain it. It may only bless. Please repeat after me. God is the mind with which I think. I am Kesten Rono, and I am perfect because God goes with me wherever I go. See you tomorrow for day 60.